Well, hello there, and welcome to my little corner of the internet. It's Wednesday, it's the 29th. Yeah, it's the 29th of September. The month's nearly over. Isn't that amazing? Into October in just a few short hours, it seems. And I do love this time of year, I do have to say that, and I keep saying that because, to be honest with you, I can't say it enough. Autumn is my favouriteest time of the year. So, as it's Wednesday, it's time for me to draw Template Thursday, and I'm just going to draw part of it today so you get an idea, well, perhaps a hint of what I'm thinking. I'm actually not thinking. I'm just going to go with the flow and see what appears. But I rather thought I'd like to start off with something on the rather sensual side. A motif or pattern here, and then work my way out from there. I do have things set up a bit differently as far as videoing is. I've got my drawing board out on a slope because I found my back's been getting stiff because I've been bending over way too far on a table. And this is actually fairly flat. I'd normally have it steeper than this, but there's no way I could get this camera to work over it, not without some kind of thought about how to lift it up or move it. As I use a document camera to record on. It's got all the buttons on its stand. I'm able to zoom in, adjust the exposure and everything else, and it's very stable and it gives a good enough quality of image, I'm sure, because nobody's been complaining about that particularly, so that's okay then. And it suits me quite well because it doesn't clutter my desk up very much or anything. And as much as I live in a busy and cluttered environment, because I'm not a minimalist by far, and I like things at hand, not hidden away, because I forget where I put things. This actually suits me really fine and well. Excuse my phone beeping. It's on because, well, it is. And I'm actually doing this much later in the day. I've got a lot of natural sunlight streaming in through my window. So much I've had to pull the very lightweight curtains across the window because it's A, too hot, and B, way too bright. It's that the sun's not so high in the sky now at midday, in the middle of the day as it used to be. And it is just past midday British summertime here. And I haven't long been awake for the second time. I say this every Wednesday. I'm up at stupid o'clock, at 5 o'clock, for a delivery. And he actually arrived not long after that. I just settled down to do some art with a mug of mocha, and the delivery arrived, so I was able to get that in really quite quickly, which was fantabulous. And I had breakfast, and I'm sort of hungry-ish now, but I'm more thirsty than I'm hungry. And this is what I actually drew this morning, and you can see where the ideas for the this pattern comes in. It's actually one called Artwyrd. I think it's an Ennioken design. I may be wrong. Maybe it won't be. I'll check now. No, it's by Jodie Genovese, and I like it because it's really quite graphic. But there's some others on here, and this was lovely. I really liked this until I decided to add colour. Why do I do this to myself? I say this so often. Angela, don't add colour. Or do it monochrome. No. I just lost the plot this morning again. But it's a reminder to do things. I mean, there are areas I like. The blue area is really quite pretty on its own. These, I can't remember what this is called. That is, if there's Zentangle patterns, all of these are basically Zentangle or Zentangle style patterns. But this one is bales, I think it is, or variation of. So this one here is another one. These are really quite nice leaves. I'm going to use those again, and these ones here where we've got things like mookery or fluxy things around a central triangle or pointy leaf. That was fun. This is interesting because it's all very swirly and sea-like. I like that. Can't remember the name of that one. Have I got it here? No, I haven't, but I can't remember its name. You know, so we've got the oysteroid. This is Ing, which is one of the official Zentangle patterns. More oysteroids, more of the frothy one like that. And it was lovely until I decided to add colour. I used chalk pastels, which actually work really well. But it gave me a chance to try some things out up here and here. I've actually used Jelly Roll Moonlight pens to add pattern to the background. This one I added pale grey for some reason, and it really made a really mucky colour. So I put some more chalk over the top, which is actually interesting, even though it's horrible, because the chalk didn't destroy the gel pen. So that's something interesting for me to consider going forward, perhaps. And here I used a very pale blue Moonlight pen over the top of the chalk, and you can actually see it in the lightest areas and darkest areas, and it's the same colour in the middle bit. So that was interesting. Dark gel pen here, and I decided to colour these in with the gel pen. I'm thinking, why did I do that? Yeah, first thing in the morning, not awake, not enough coffee. That's my excuse. So I've got a fresh mug of tea here because I said I haven't long woken up, so I couldn't keep my eyes open after I'd messed about with that, got disheartened with myself again. And then just had to go back to sleep. So I've got this really lovely kind of cluster of shapes here. And I'm just looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, I quite like that. And I think it would work. Excuse the purple stuff underneath if you see it. It's to stop my paper sliding off the board because it's on a slope. So I really want things to go this way, really. So I'm going to add a couple more of these kinds of shapes, just to make it a bit more ball-like. Blob-like. So there we go. That'll do. Right, okay, let me get rid of that thing because they're great. It really is great, but it's really scuzzy looking. Okay, that'll do nicely. So now I need some growth coming off here. And I think I'll use this one. Growth. Yeah, growing stuff. Foliage, Angela. Use your words, girl. Properly. That's something that I do struggle with now. It's just a fact of life, is that I live alone. Through the past year and a half, I've had very little contact with humans, other than through Zoom and the odd telephone call. It's mainly been through texts and what have you, messages and things like that, and email. And so I haven't really often had the chance to use my words quite literally. And I'm finding that my ability to put my thoughts into actual words, which is a struggle for me anyway, because I don't think in words particularly, unless I'm telling myself a story, particularly if I'm beating myself up, or, you know, actually usually when I'm beating myself up, the inner critic is very vocal in terms of words. But or, you know, I'm having an anxious moment and a flashback to the past, and then that can come back not just as feelings but almost in words in some way. Very visually as well it can be. And so it's becoming quite hard at times for me to speak or to order my words in the right kind of way, which is where creating YouTube videos where I do voiceover or voices or talk as I'm working or do voiceovers is really good for me in that kind of way. Even though there are times when I do that, I always talk when I'm creating video, but there are times when I decide that what I've gone and rambled on about isn't something I want to ramble about on my channel, because I want it to be mainly about art, a little bit about mental health and wellness, because creativity is fab for helping people look after their mental health, emotional health, and to give you a break from life's daily things. It can be very meditative, whether it's drawing, painting, colouring, or baking, or gardening, or mending things, whatever it is, any creative kind of pursuit that you can lose yourself in, that brings a smile to your face as you do it, that stops you from worrying or overly thinking about things, gives your mind a rest from all of that. And there are days when we all need rest from worries. And I'm not shy about telling people, but you know, I've had problems with mental and emotional health in the past. I have complex post-traumatic stress, which isn't a huge problem now, but there are bits, you know, there's a lot of it I've dealt, you know, helped myself with, or I say help myself with, I've had help to undo some of the traumas of the past, the damage they've done. But there's still some stuff that's there that gives me quite a vocal inner critic particularly when I'm tired or stressed or both. Well, it's just one of those days. Yesterday was almost one of those days because it was really quite grey and dark and rainy, and I was overtired yet again. And my emotions weren't exactly the best at times, but I worked through it. The surprising thing, though, about being on my own and not having much contact with humans or having to go out into the big wide world too often, having had that pressure removed from me by the needs of the times, it's something that's actually done my health and well-being a lot of good, because it is being around people that I particularly get socially anxious, so it's a double-edged thing. Okie dokes, phone call completed. And I don't know how long that phone call was, but it was lovely. It's me talking about how I don't get to chat to people often, and I just did, about all kinds of stuff. So, job done. So, that looks quite nice and interesting. Do I want to do another layer of these? No, I don't think so. What can I do around this? I think we'll have some more leafy things, but I think using the shape of ones on that drawing I showed you, but I think I may go for them seeming to overlap, but because this is a colouring template, it means that I'm going to need to leave space for colouring. And I'm being, whenever I draw things like this, I am aware that I need to leave that space. And where there are little spaces of white, I will add colour, black to them, fill them in, because I don't want anybody to struggle with tiny little spaces. And black often actually helps greatly in contrast and separating different elements out. That little bit of space here is big enough that people will be able to fill it in. Excuse the noise of me twisting and turning this. I think you cope. What I want to do is to try to get them to almost touch one another, so that I end up with a ring of them around here and a nice kind of an edge then to work from. On this one I'm going to make it sprout off or branch off. From one, rather than create yet another. Branch to cross over at the bottom, because these areas will get too small if I'm not careful. So that's quite a nice thing to do, is to have them branching. Didn't think about that. It's because I could go back to sleep quite happily now. It is a lovely day here. It's really sunny out, and I can feel the warmth coming in through the windows, which is lovely. But I know it's going to be cooler tonight. Last night I was really quite chilly, but it is autumn. Well, these black areas are perfect for putting dots of coloured gel pen on. Got some quite biggish areas here, which are fine. I've got a problem with larger open spaces. Apparently in graphic design you shouldn't really trap white space, but as this isn't a graphic design, I'm happy to trap open space. Now this one, there's no way I'm going to fit one in here, so I'm going to fall back on my standby. Perhaps here adding some trapped seeds maybe. Whatever you want to call them. And again, it will give that very clear edge that I'm looking for around this particular circular motif here. And of course I have no idea what I was talking about before the phone rang, but it rang. It's going to be an interesting thing to see how people add colour to. And I absolutely love the way that everybody adds colour differently, and the colours you choose to bring things to life. And this speaks quite organic, as in leaves and things, but you know, you could be sculptural organic. It's really entirely up to you how you colour such things in. Because my art is often very abstract, and I'm happy for my art to be considered abstract, imaginative, intuitive. And this one is very much based around Zentangle style things, but in my own kind of way of doing art, which is much more entangled, because I'll incorporate all kinds of things in my arts, from cute doodly worldy kind of characters to geometric patterns to realistic drawings, I suppose, or illustrations of, as I've done in the past. A year ago I was drawing mandalas with moths and butterflies in black and white, drawn in quite an illustrative style, and above mandalas that faded into the background almost, that were just shadows and hints there. And I enjoy doing things like that as well. So it's all about. It's like with everything, it's finding out what you enjoy doing. And in my case, it's remembering to remind myself of what I really, really don't do well, colour. And this morning's drawing, that's okay. It's just a note I need to say, Angela, don't use colour first thing in the morning, or think carefully, monochrome only. Shorty one here because I can, because I think it'll add a bit of interest around the edge as well. Actually, I don't want to go this way. Let's have a look. The pen I'm using is my favourite at this moment, which is a Tombow Fudenosuke. I love the way I can get nice fine lines with it. Not so fine with this one because I've really hammered the heck out of it, used it to create really thick lines in places. Now I could get a cheeky one in here, I think. Make that bit quite slender. And then like that, yeah, that'll work. Because those two areas there aren't big enough for a pencil to get in there. And then I think a little baby one there, simply because this area was just that little bit too big in comparison to the others. And it is all about just working around as I go. I do kind of think these things, but not so much in words. Sort of like, I just know that something extra needs to go there, and it's not something I express verbally, I just do it. I'm not aware of thinking that as I do think this, as I do create this without talking out loud, as it were. Okay, let's have a look. That one there. Ooh. That's actually good, because said I wanted a clear sort of like edge to this particular round of patterns, because then that makes it easier for me to add something to the next round, as if they are growing out of this, or you know, sort of like resting on top of this. I don't have to have roots and things going through and matching things up, because that really isn't necessary then. So if I was going to have more growing things above this, then get in a right pickle. It could become a right mess, actually. Dear goodness, my home phone's now ringing. It can ring. It's usually a wrong number or somebody trying to sell me something. I only have it because it's necessary as part of the internet. If it's somebody who needs to leave a message for me, they will, and I'll be able to get back to them. I don't think they did leave a message. I think it's just I heard my answer machine come on, and then the thank you message replayed very quickly. Thank you for calling. So I doubt a message was left. If it's somebody who knows me, most people phone me on my mobile phone anyway. But there are still a few people who only use home phones. I do have to say that. Landlines. Not many. It's usually people trying to sell you something that you don't need, or that you're capable of actually making your own mind up if it's something you actually want to look into or consider. Drives me nuts, I think, is the phrase. Oh, teeny tiny ones required here, I think. I won't take them any further down because they're really teeny tiny. It's okay, right, just tidy that one up. Getting close to the end of this circuit. And I'm going to leave it when I get back there. Just giving you in advance. So if you're hoping to see the whole of this one today, you're not going to. I'm sorry. But this one really is a peek. It's just a taste of what's to come. Don't think there'll be a video tomorrow, because my focus will be on adding colour to this, and my usual go-to for adding colour to big images is digital colouring. So obviously I'm going to have to edit this digitally once I've scanned it in, as I'm drawing on dot grid sketch paper by Claire Fontaine. And I like dot paper for drawing on. I like this paper. It's actually lovely paper for drawing on. The dots, you can't really use media and things on. You most probably could use markers and so on. The dots would fade because they're very pale grey. But if I want to use any kind of media, then it needs to be on different paper. So if I was determined that I was really wanted to draw an image and colour it with watercolour or very, you know, lots of water-based media, then I'd most probably make the effort to draw it on paper that would take watercolours, such as watercolour paper. And if I finally decide to take the plunge, and because I'm going to have to make that decision sooner or later, whether I get sooner rather than later, whether I get another toner cartridge for my laser printer scanner, or whether I go, right, that's it, I've had enough of this now, and get an inkjet printer with ink that is water resistant. I think the Epsons are pretty good for that. So I did have, I've had a couple of them with what used to be called Durabright ink in. I don't know what they call it now. It really is quite water resistant, and I've been able to print on watercolour paper, albeit not the really heavy duty stuff, but also on quite thin weight paper like marker paper, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, mind you, but I'm sure it would. Then I can use various media on paper that's been printed from the inkjet, whereas with the laser, I've tried other papers and it's just not good. I think I've managed to print on vellum with an inkjet. I've tried it on laser and I got very mucky prints for quite a while afterwards because the toner didn't stick to the paper, because it has to be a particular kind of paper that's suitable for laser printers. So that was not a good idea at all. And it doesn't like print watercolour paper, it doesn't stick to. Again, same kind of problem with mess. So I'm thinking about it, I haven't made my mind up yet. Because the laser printer is brilliant, it's so fast and relatively inexpensive. But I'm looking at the eco tanks for the Epsons, which have a huge amount of ink in their tanks and makes it much more environmentally friendly, that you don't have lots of cartridges that need to be recycled in some way and reused with chips and everything else in. But I haven't made my mind up yet. So that's as much as I'm going to do on camera today. I hope you've enjoyed watching this on my Witter, and obviously tomorrow you'll get to see the whole version. I'm likely to do a video, as I said, because I'm likely to colour this in digitally or add some colour digitally once I finished it, scanned it in and cleaned it up. But there will definitely be a video on Saturday, because it will be Sketchbook Saturday. I don't know about Friday. It depends what way the wind's blowing, creatively speaking, not literally. And so I look forward to seeing you again soon. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a regular schedule of when videos will be released. Definitely Wednesdays, definitely Saturdays, but not in between. It can be, you know, a bit funny and awkward and weird, but let me know if you'd prefer to know, you know, or just click the bell for notifications when I do upload a video. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this. I hope you're looking forward to seeing how it's going to turn out. I'm looking forward to that because I have at the moment absolutely no idea as to whether it's going to or not, what's going to happen next, but we shall see. And take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll say bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.